Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a huge shift that's happening right now, the move from old school search to these new AI-powered answers, and what that means for your brand. Well, let's just say you might need to forget everything you thought you knew about ranking on Google, because the game has totally changed. All right, so here's our game plan for today. First up, we'll talk about how search is now answering, not just linking. Then, we're going to peek under the hood and see how AI actually picks its sources. After that, we'll get into the good stuff, how you can become a brand that AI wants to cite. We'll also tackle a really tricky part, the trouble with measuring all this. And we'll wrap it all up with a winning strategy you can actually use.
Okay, let's dive right into our first big topic. Search is now answering. We're talking about a fundamental shift from a list of links to a single, direct answer. And this really all comes down to one big question.
So what if your customers never saw a search results page again? I mean, really think about that, because this isn't some far-off sci-fi idea. It's happening right now. You've got AI engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and even Google's own AI overviews. And their entire goal is to give you one single answer. They want to completely bypass that classic list of 10 blue links we've all known for years. And what this means is that the entire game has changed. You know, the old goal was simple, get to the top of the page, right? But now, that's not it. The new goal is to actually become part of the answer itself. It's like your goal isn't to be the first book on the shelf, but to be the trusted fact that gets quoted inside the book. The AI is doing the research now, and your content, it's the raw material. So naturally, this massive shift has brought a whole new set of acronyms with it. You're going to hear these a lot. AEO, which is Answer Engine Optimization, and GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. People use them kind of interchangeably, but you can think of it like this. AEO is about getting into a direct answer, and GEO is about being woven into a brand new piece of text the AI writes. But honestly, at the end of the day, they're both about the same thing, making your content so clear, so factual, and so trustworthy that a machine says, yep, I'm using that. All right, so that brings us to the next big question. How on earth does an AI actually choose its sources? You know, how does it decide who gets cited? Well, spoiler alert, it's not magic. There's actually a pretty clear process behind it all.
And here it is. This whole process has a fancy name, Retrieval, Augmented Generation, or just RAG for short. So when you type in a prompt, the AI doesn't just start writing. No way. First, it tries to figure out what you really mean. Then, and this is the most important part, it retrieves sources. It literally goes out and searches for evidence to back up its answer. Only then, after it's found and ranked the best bits of info, does it actually start to generate the response you end up seeing.
So when the AI goes on that hunt for sources, where does it actually go? This data is, wow, it's pretty eye-opening. A whopping 40.1% of citations come from Wikipedia, and another 26.3% from Reddit. Now, why those two? Well, think about it. They're kind of a perfect combination for an AI. Wikipedia is this massive, structured library of facts. And Reddit? That's a huge sample of real human conversation and consensus. It's the what and the why, all in one. This really gets to the heart of what the AI is actually looking for. It's like its own internal scoring system. It's not just about stuffing keywords in anymore. It's looking for real authority, domain reputation, backlinks. It's looking for recency. Sometimes it gives a huge boost to stuff that's been updated in just the last couple of days. It's looking for relevance and, really importantly, structure, clear headings, lists, things that are easy for a machine to parse. And maybe my favorite term, factual density. It wants the hard data, the stats, the specific examples. It wants the goods. Okay, so now that we know what the AI is looking for, let's get practical. How do we actually become a citable brand? How do we create this machine-liftable content? Well, the very first thing you need to get your head around is that not all of these AI engines are built the same.
They really do have different personalities, which means a one-size-fits-all strategy is just not going to work. Just look at this breakdown. Google's AI, it's going to lean heavily on its own existing search rankings and structured data. Makes sense, right? ChatGPT, on the other hand, acts more like a research assistant, preferring to cite big, high-authority publications. And then you have something like Perplexity, which is super aggressive about citations and will often dig up these really niche expert review sites. They all have their own flavor.
You can actually think about getting cited as passing through 4 different gates or layers. It's like a funnel. First, there's crawl probability. Basically, can the machine even read your stuff? Then you've got eligibility. Does your site seem trustworthy at all? Is it even in the running? If you pass that, you get to selection. Now it's asking, okay, is this specific little piece of content the best possible evidence I can find? And if you make it through that, you hit the final gate, citation. Is this sentence or stat so clear and quotable that I can confidently show it to the user? You have to pass all four. So this all boils down to some really clear, actionable tactics. The big one is writing what we're calling machine-liftable content. That means one single clear idea per paragraph. Make it super easy for a machine to grab. Another huge one, publish your own original data and case studies. Give the AI something unique it can't find anywhere else. You also have to earn that authoritative third-party coverage, get other credible people to talk about you, use structured data so the machine can understand your content easily, and, try to avoid sounding like a used car salesman. Ditch the overly promotional language. Okay, so you're probably thinking, great, I've got a plan, I know what to do, but there's a pretty big problem. And that's the trouble with measuring any of this. Tracking your brand's visibility in AI is way, way harder than it looks. This is where we really enter the fog of war. The heart of the issue is that these AI systems are basically black boxes. They're unbelievably complex, and they're not exactly transparent. That nice, clean answer you see on your screen, that's just the final polished result of a process that involves thousands, maybe millions of hidden variables that we just don't get to see. Yeah, and this quote from a recent industry report absolutely nails it. It says, tracking brand visibility inside most LLM chatbots is, for now, experimental data. It is not yet decision grade. What does that mean, decision grade? It means the data might be interesting, it might give you a hint, but it's nowhere near reliable enough to bet your budget or your job on. So why is it so unreliable? Well, for starters, the data we can get is just plain flawed. Take a look at this number, 38%. What's that? Well, that's the average overlap between the sources you see when you use ChatGPT and the sources a measurement tool sees when it plugs into the official developer API. They're not the same, which means any tool that says it's tracking your visibility is basically flying half-blind from the start. Okay, problem number 2 is just the scale of it all. It is mind-bendingly huge. Just think about a simple 12-word question. If you account for common synonyms, the number of ways that one question could be phrased is 4 quadrillion. That's a 4 with 15 zeros after it. So this idea of tracking performance by testing a few sample questions, it's statistically meaningless. It's like trying to measure the ocean with a teaspoon. And the third big issue? A serious lack of transparency. Get this, fewer than half of all the published reports and studies on AI visibility even bother to tell you how they did their research. They don't share their methods. We have no idea what prompts they used or how they ran their tests. And if you don't know that, how can you possibly trust their findings? You can't. Look, it all boils down to this really fundamental change in how people search. We used to live in a keyword world. Queries were short, we had public data on search volumes, and the results page was pretty much fixed. Now, we're in a prompt world. People are asking multi-sentence questions, they're adding private context, they're uploading files, and the results are different every time. We've basically lost the map. We can no longer see the universe of questions people are asking, and that was the bedrock of how we measured everything in SEO. So given this measurement fog of war, what on earth is the winning strategy? Where do you put your time and money? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. You stop chasing all these noisy, unreliable metrics, and you get back to the fundamentals that we know work. This is the enduring strategy that will work no matter how the AI models change. Number 1, create high-quality, fact-based, machine-liftable content. Number 2, earn real authority. Get those credible third-party validations. Number 3, make sure your technical house is in order. Your site needs to be crawlable and well-structured. And finally, number 4, when it comes to measurement, just focus on what you can actually see and measure reliably. Track the things that are visible, like getting cited in Google's AI overviews, and lean on traditional, proven metrics for brand reputation. Because at the end of the day, success in this new age of AI really comes down to a very old, very human principle: becoming a source that people, and now machines, can genuinely trust. The technology might be brand new and a little scary, but the goal is timeless. It's all about building a credible, authoritative reputation. And so that's the real question I want to leave you with. In this age of AI, is your brand just optimized, or is it truly authoritative? Because let's be honest, the little tricks and tactics for optimization, they're going to change every week. But real, genuine authority, the kind that's built on actual expertise and trust, that's the one thing that's going to last. That's what will endure.
Subscribe and visit trueintel.ai for more insights.